All right, so once again, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and taking some of your time on this Thursday evening to learn more about our Baltimore City Teaching Residency program. We have a lot of information to share with you tonight, and happy to answer any additional questions at the end of our webinar. So feel free to type them in the Q&A, and if we don't get to them during the presentation, we'll definitely have some time at the end. I'll also share my contact information with you in case you don't already have it, and we can also follow up one-on-one if that's helpful. So just going to start with a quick agenda of how we're going to spend our time today. We're going to share a little bit about TNTP Teaching Fellows and Baltimore City Teaching Residency. We'll do our formal introductions. We'll go over the application process. We'll go through our training and teaching with BCTR. We'll go over some financial questions and information. And like I said, we'll end with our Q&A. So here at TNTP, we believe that highly effective teachers can transform students' lives. We're proud to help launch the careers of new teachers from diverse backgrounds who are dedicated to fighting for educational equity. Here at Baltimore City Teaching Residency, we have worked for 20 years, and we've trained over 2,100 teachers and impacted more than 380,000 students. BCTR develops individuals from diverse backgrounds to become exceptional teachers committed to giving all students a great education. Here at Baltimore City Teaching Residency, we are an alternative teacher certification program. It's a 2-year program, and all of our residents do come out with their Maryland State Teaching Certificate at the end of our program. So I'll do a formal introduction. Once again, my name is Lital Litwack. I am the recruitment specialist with Baltimore City Teaching Residency. Like I said, I've probably communicated with many of you already. I work with our future teachers as they go through the application process. I've worked in education for over 10 years. I went through an alternative teacher certification program myself, and I'm excited to support you on your journey to teacher certification. And now I'll have Sean introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. I'm Sean Nix. I am the program manager for the Baltimore City Teaching Residency. Sorry, I can't speak tonight. So I'm in charge of helping people that become enrolled in the program get to our summer training. I'm also help with the hiring of our residents into positions in the district. And I'm also in charge of helping residents navigate the certification process. And I am the collector of all your documents and the submitter of all those documents to the state as well. So it's great to have everyone on, and I look forward to your questions that you have for us.
Thanks so much, Sean. So as I mentioned before, our program is that alternative teacher certification program. And I know that many of you are at different stages of the application process who are here tonight, but I do want to start off by going over our eligibility requirements. So all of our residents do need to have a bachelor's degree conferred by June 7th, 2023. All of our residents need to have a minimum GPA of 2.0. They need to meet all legal requirements to work in the United States. So I do want to share that while we're happy to receive applications from non-US citizens, all of our residents must be authorized to work in the United States. This applies to all of our TNTP Teaching Fellows programs. And unfortunately, immigration sponsorship is not available through any of our programs. And the last eligibility requirement is that you are only eligible for our program if you have not held a professional teaching license. If you are unsure of any eligibility requirements or have a unique situation, like I said, I'm available to have a conversation with you after our webinar, either via email or over the phone. Like I said, many of you are on different parts of your application journey at this stage. I know that some of you are maybe still considering applying. Some of you are maybe at the interview stage or have even already been offered a spot in our cohort. But many of you have probably already seen our TNTP Teaching Fellows website. We have a lot of information there. And it's a great resource to you as you go through this journey. The first step is to create an online application account. And through this online application, it's an opportunity for you to share information about your interest in teaching, your experience, and what you bring to the classroom. Once your application is reviewed, if you are invited to the next stage, you are invited to interview for our program. We have a unique interview process. We do a virtual video interview, where again, we take another opportunity to learn more about you and for you to share some of the skills and experience that you currently have and how you will apply them to your future classroom. Once your interview is reviewed, the next step, if you're offered a spot in our cohort, is to officially accept, hopefully, your offer to join our 2023 BCTR cohort. You will sign a commitment agreement. And at this stage, you will also have an opportunity to acknowledge the praxis test requirements. These are state requirements for the state of Maryland, and we will dive into a little more detail on those testing requirements a little later on. And then once you have completed these tasks, you are officially enrolled in our program. And at this stage, you will have an opportunity to connect with Sean with a welcome call for our BCTR enrollees. You'll have an opportunity to start working on your resume and be prepared for our summer training as well as hiring. And then the next step, our summer training begins in June, and we have a 6-week intensive summer training program, which we're going to talk a little bit more about next. So our summer training, PST, sorry, I jumped ahead a little bit. Sean, before we get into PST, I'd love for you to share a question that I often get is, what can I do to make my application or interview stand out? So I'd love for you to share what you think makes a good teacher or what attributes our successful residents may have.
So are you talking about interviewing for a position or interviewing for the program?
For our BCTR application process.
Yes, the biggest thing I think for both, for the program and for hiring, is understanding and being able to communicate your why you're doing this. We know that a lot of people are coming from maybe a different career or don't have a lot of experience in education, and some do. But the first thing I would note is really being able to explain why you're doing this in a powerful but succinct way. And that's something that we'll talk about when you're enrolled for the hiring process as well, because it lets people know why you're doing this and the passion for doing it. I think that goes a long way for the program, but also for hiring. And then if you do have some education experience, talk a little bit about that. But I think the interview process is really about thinking about what you want to say clearly and in a way that you can do it in like an elevator pitch almost, but keep it short, but keep it, that you get all the information about who you are and why you're doing it in that conversation.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that's such an important point of really that elevator pitch of practicing it too before you say it out loud, so that you can really think through what's the main goal that you're trying to get across. All right, so now I'm going to jump into our pre-service training program, or PST for short. Our 6-week training program will run from June 19th to July 28th. And this is an opportunity for our residents to really learn the key skills to be effective in their classrooms on day one. You'll also have an opportunity to practice these skills in a summer school classroom and have real field experience over the summer before you begin teaching in your own classroom in the fall. And Sean, I'd love for you to share a little bit more about what PST looks like and maybe what a typical day at PST is like.
Sure. So it is a lot in the 6 weeks. So we're putting in over a semester's worth of a graduate course into 6 weeks. So it's rigorous in the sense that it's a lot of information. It's not anything that you can't grasp or understand. It's just a lot of information in a packed 6 weeks time. We kind of liken it to boot camp for teachers. So you go in, we teach you everything that you need to know to start strong. It's not all the things about teaching, but it's everything to start strong in your first day as a teacher from 0 to when you go in September. And so we pride ourselves on really helping our teachers be confident that first day. What goes into a typical day? So about the first week, you're just kind of learning some coursework stuff and learning about coaching and things of that nature. Sometime during the second week, you start what's called field experience. So field experience, you're going to be teaching a class. You're going to be managing, planning, lesson planning, and leading that class each morning. You'll have a coach teacher that's going to be with you. That coach teacher is there to give you real-time feedback and debrief afterwards. But the expectation is that you're going to lead the class. The coach teacher can help out if need be, but it's going to be your class in the morning. After that, you have a little bit of break, and then you come back to our training school where you're going to be learning about delivering your content specialty in a age-appropriate, grade-appropriate manner, learning how to lesson plan, learning how to build a strong classroom culture where your students are comfortable and feel like they can take educational risk and ask questions and things of that nature and feel like they are able to learn without any other distractions around them. And so you're going to be learning about that. After that, you're going to go home, and then you're going to plan for your next day's class. So most of our residents spend about 2 hours in the evening prepping for their next day. And that's the basic schedule. Teach in the morning, break, come back to the training school to train, break, and then home to do your lesson planning. So usually the day starts, depending on where you're teaching, from about 7:30 to 8 in the morning. And then you usually leave the training school around 5:30 in the evening. And then you have, most of our residents go home, eat dinner, spend some time with their family, and then get right into planning their next day. And it starts over. And that schedule goes all the way to our last day, which is going to be July 28th this year.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, it really is that intensive training program to make sure that all of our residents are ready to go on day one in their classrooms. After our pre-service training program, all of our residents will participate in our TNTP Academy, which is coursework over the 2 years of our program in order to meet the state requirements for certification. Sean, I'd love for you to share a little bit about TNTP Academy, as well as the coaching support that our residents receive throughout their first year of teaching.
Yes. So our program is a 2-year program, and to work towards your full certification, which is called the standard professional certification, which is the same certification you would get if you went through a university program or a college program, master's or undergrad. Your first year with us, after you finish successfully PST or pre-service training and come into your first year, there's still state required coursework, which our staff is certified to teach. So we don't have a university partner. We do this in-house. And you'll be learning about continuing literacy, a lot of stuff that you started in the pre-service training. Currently, we do a mix of hybrid and in-person times. We usually meet on Tuesday evenings for about 2 to 3 hours to deliver that coursework over from about September to April. So you'll have that course time, and you can kind of consider it like a graduate level course where you're working with staff to do a number of things to meet the Maryland certification guidelines. In addition to that, in your first year, you'll be assigned a coach. So your coach is going to be similar to the coaching in the pre-service training, but you won't see them every day. They will be coming to your classroom and working with you and helping you with any opportunities or challenges that you may have. And they're kind of your first support mentor. Some schools have other mentors and coaching in, but you're guaranteed a coach with BCTR for that first year. And like I said, they help you also prepare for your observations, which are like performance reviews by your school. Each year in Baltimore, all teachers have at least two, one in the fall, one in the spring. And so your coach is kind of helping you, guide you through that, which is a super great resource for a lot of our teachers to be able to navigate that. During your second year, you don't have a coach anymore. You don't have the regular Tuesday coursework that we're doing right now. You will have a asynchronous course that you need to complete for your certification. And that's kind of done on your own time over that course of the year. I work with our residents in gathering up final tests. So there are some state tests for certain subject areas that need to be completed in the second year. Notably, if you're special ed, you have to complete your special ed test in your second year. And I work to get all that documentation from residents. So residents that successfully complete this asynchronous course and get me all the documents and testing completed in their second year, I submit those for your full certification at the end of your second school year with us. And that officially completes you from the program as an alumni, and you are certified to teach in any public school in Maryland in your subject area and grade level at that point.
Awesome. Thank you, Sean. Yeah, and that's one of the real key differentiators of our program is that coaching support you do receive during your first year of teaching. All right, so now we're going to shift gears a little bit and talk about our hiring process. So as a BCTR resident, all of our residents are responsible for conducting their own job search. We don't place our residents in a school because we believe that our residents are most successful when they're at a school that is the right fit for them. So while we don't place you in a school, we do provide a lot of support with the hiring process. Sean is the key person to help you navigate that district hiring process. Once you're enrolled in our program, you are eligible to start working on a resume. We provide you with a template. We'll review it with you and provide interview support as well. And I also do want to share that for the last 7 years, 100% of our residents who successfully complete our summer training program are hired by a school, for a position in the district. And Sean, if you want to add any additional hiring support or talk a little more about the hiring process, we'd love to hear.
Yeah, no, thank you, Latal. So yeah, well, all the things that Latal said, just a little more detail in that. Yeah, so some of the hiring supports that we provide are help with resumes, help with interviewing. It's usually at the end of March, beginning of April, our folks can start interview for positions if they completed testing. And so we help principals connect with some of our residents, and then principals are also able to look up our residents in the official hiring system. So we help you navigate that hiring system as well. The district also holds hiring fairs and things of that nature. And we also, if there's a need, we can supply those fairs or other resources as well as like list of schools, smaller meeting groups with principals and things of that nature. But the key thing I want to highlight here is I've been doing this for about 5 years. We've been in the district for about 20 years. And I know people coming, especially new to education, have a lot of anxiety around getting hired. One of the things for us, because we've been able to always get our people that are passed into positions in schools. And so for me, as the person that's in charge of hiring, that's probably not a huge worry for me and the staff here. Like, we are very confident that we'll get you a position. We want you to be in a position that is going to be the best fit for you. And you'll hear us talk a lot about that. There's schools that we work with, and we want you to get positions in those schools if possible, or schools that may fit for what you're doing and subject area and what you want to accomplish. And so we may push for people to do that as opposed to taking maybe the first position that's offered to them. And so I know a lot of times people get anxiety because I don't have an experience. I don't, know what I'm doing. And that we're asking people to trust us to get you hopefully in the right space, not the first space. And so if you ever worked for a government organization or any kind of school organization, there's a lot of frustrating things that go through the hiring process. Baltimore is no different. But like I said, our staff has been here for a long time. So myself, I've been in this position for 5 years. Our director has been a principal in the district and has gone, most of our coaches have gone through the program and have been in the program for about 10 years. So we know the district really well. We know the schools. We work with a lot of principals. And so our goal is more than getting you hired. It's really to get you in a space where you're going to thrive. And so we understand the anxiety about hiring, but we're confident that the jobs will be there. It is more, we want you to be in the right place, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's super valuable, Sean, really making sure that our residents are set up for success by finding that school that is the right fit. All right, we are going to dive into some more detailed information on testing. The state of Maryland requires all teachers to pass the Praxis Core exam. It's also considered a basic skills assessment, and there are approved exemptions for this exam. Our residents can be exempt from this exam if they have a 3.0 GPA or higher. There are also certain SAT, ACT, and GRE scores that qualify for exemptions for this exam. And then all of our residents are required to take the Praxis content exam for their certification area. At BCTR, we offer certification in a wide variety of subject areas. I'm going to try my best to list them off. So we offer early childhood education, elementary education, secondary education for English, math, chemistry, and biology, as well as special education dual certification with elementary. I think I got them all, Sean, right? Okay, awesome. So once you are enrolled in our BCTR program, you have access to our test prep coach, as well as online testing resources to help you prepare for these exams and feel ready to pass. So our test prep coach will help you set up a diagnostic test, review the areas that you maybe need to work on, and help you register for a date that feels like a good time for you to take that exam. All of our residents do need to pass these exams before training starts in June. And as Sean mentioned earlier, once you do pass these exams, you are hire ready. And so you can start your job search as soon as that is complete. If you do have additional testing questions, of course, I'm available to help answer them, and we can definitely set up some time to talk about them in more detail as well. All right, we're going to dive into the finances. So the tuition for our program is a $7,000 tuition. Our residents are not responsible for tuition until they begin teaching in the fall. The first payment is expected to be around October of 2023. So our residents will already have begun teaching full-time and earning their teacher salary. The average salary for a starting BCTR resident is about $51,000 for the year. And then all of our residents have the option to either pay the full amount upfront or set up a payment plan either over 1 or 2 years. If you are interested in that special education dual certification, there is a slightly higher tuition. It's an $8,000 tuition, and that's just for the additional coursework in order to get that dual certification in special ed and elementary education. While there is a tuition, we do have some resources that can help our residents to alleviate some of these costs. So all residents are eligible to apply for a partial tuition reimbursement through Baltimore City. And Sean is an expert at helping our residents to apply for these funds, and there is an option to receive up to $3,750 if you have a bachelor's degree, and up to $2,500 if you have a master's degree or higher. And Sean, I'll just pause there. Did I miss anything on the tuition reimbursement?
No, I did want to add one thing. The TAL did mention that you don't owe tuition, you don't have to pay tuition until you start teaching. And the fact actually is you don't owe tuition until you secure a position and start teaching. So if you, whatever reason, go through the 6 weeks and decide teaching's not for you, or that for some reason there wasn't a position for you, you don't owe the tuition. You only owe tuition when you start actually teaching in the city with a full-time teacher of record position.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification. We do also have an opportunity for some of our residents to join the Black Educator Excellence Cohort, or the BEEC. This is a cohort to support Black educators transition to the classroom. And through this cohort, there are additional financial supports as well as testing supports, and there is an opportunity for networking and professional development opportunities. And there's no separate application for the BEC. If you do choose to enroll in Baltimore City Teaching Residency and identify as Black or African American, you are automatically eligible for the BEC. Some of our residents also do have the opportunity to participate in our partnership with AmeriCorps. And AmeriCorps offers an education grant of up to $6,345. Unfortunately, this grant cannot be applied towards our TNTP Academy tuition. However, it can be applied for past education funds or bills, or future education bills. There's also an opportunity to pause any student loan repayment interest payments while you're in our program. All right, so I know we did go through a lot of information, so I do want to take some time for some questions and answers. I got some questions ahead of time, but also please do feel free to add in additional questions into the Q&A box, and we'll try our best to answer
Real
them.
quick, I tried to answer a question in the chat and I actually messed it up, but someone asked if they had a master, if they qualified for both the tuition reimbursements. It's only one or the other. So if you have a master's, or if you submit a master's to the district, you will only get that up to $2,500, but you will get a pay increase for your master's when you start teaching with your master's. So the pay increase with someone with a master's and no experience is probably like $5,000 to $6,000 a salary boost.
Awesome, thank you. Another question that I did get is, what if I haven't worked in education before? Will I still be hired?
Nope, not at all. No, sorry. Yes, absolutely. So most of our people are career changers and never worked in education before. That's one of the things that our program's kind of known for. We work with a lot of career changers, although we do work with people coming out of college or have an education background. Most of our, I would say a good 60 to 65% of our people have never worked in education before. And so that program in the summer is designed for that, taking someone that hasn't taught in the classroom before and bringing them to be teaching in a classroom. On the other side of that, we've been in the district for over 20 years now. We work with principals. A good 10% of teachers in the district or leaders in the district have gone through BCTR. So a lot of principals are looking for our residents, even though they know that they don't have a background in education, because they know, one, they know that they're going to get the training, which is super valuable. They're going to get the continued training in the first year with the coursework, but even more valuable, principals know that you're coming with a already built-in mentor in your coach coming to your school to help you along. And that's something that some principals value, in having just some extra people helping out their teachers in the classroom. So when I talk about your learning what your why is in doing this, that is probably the biggest lift that you can do when you're hiring. With the program, we have just the reputation and the background of principals wanting our people because they know that the training that they get. And it would be up to you just to really be able to clearly state why you want to do this. And I think that is more important to principals than what your background is, especially them knowing that you're going to a program that's going to work with their school and with them, and has a proven track record of helping teachers be successful.
Awesome, thank you. We got a few more questions coming in. So one is, where will the summer training be located? Sean, I'll pass that to you.
Yeah, great question. So last year we were at the Academy for Career and College Exploration, which is called ACE in Hamden, Baltimore. If you know that area, it's kind of a little bit north of center of the city. It's a really nice school. Actually, that first slide that Latal had is a picture of the school that we were at last year. And we are 95% sure that we're going to be in there this year. Summer school things are still being hashed out in the district, but the principal wants us there. We want to be there. And so we're just trying to finalize the contract for being at the school. But it is a great school. It's in a great location. The restaurants in the area are really cool. And so if you know the Hamden area, but also know it's a really great school and the principal's really supportive of the program, and it's one of the newer updated schools.
Awesome, thank you. All right, next up we have is our 6-week summer training paid, and if not, can BCTR accommodate those who work full-time? So I'll jump in here. Our PST is an unpaid training program. As Sean mentioned earlier, this PST training is a condensed version of coursework in order to get that state certification. So we actually don't advise our residents to work during this time. And we are working to secure, I believe, some stipends for our residents over the summer, though we don't have those finalized yet, but I'll let Sean jump in.
Yeah, so no, it isn't a paid 6 weeks. It is, like I said, it is an intense 6 weeks. It's would be extremely difficult to work a part-time job, let alone a full-time job in this program. Over the past couple of years, and we know it's a hardship for people, we've been working with outside funders to help with stipends for our folks. We haven't gotten it to the point where it's up to a full-time salary, but last year we were able to provide, I think, $2,000 to $3,000 to residents through certain grants and things of that nature. We do have those grants this year. We just don't know the final funding of it. So we will have stipends, but we won't know the full amount. And I'll also say about the tuition, our goal is that ultimately that your tuition will be zero through tuition reimbursements. We also have funders that are willing to pay for tuition for our residents as well. The tuition reimbursement is the one that we know every year because it's part of your employee, but we also have other things in the back end hopefully that your tuition is actually zero by pay through other funders outside of TNTP.
Thanks, Sean. All right, we have a question about what if you already work in the system? Is there a pay increase?
It depends on what you're working as. So a lot of times if someone's a sub or a paraprofessional, I believe the salary band for a teacher is a bit higher. Like I said, like Latal said, like for someone that has no teaching experience, like a teacher of record experience, like they won't count subbing, paraprofessional, or long-term sub. They'll only count like if you taught as a teacher of record in a private school. So if you don't have any experience and just your bachelor's degree, it's about 51. It was 51,566, I believe, was the exact number last year. The district does salary bands; they don't negotiate. It's just kind of that's where everybody's at. If you have no experience and bachelor's degree, it'll probably be 52 this year, or just above that. And so that is the salary that you'll start with. Now, if you have a master's, it's higher. If you have a PhD, it's higher. If you have some private school experience, then it's higher. But that's where we start in the, let's say, $52,000 range.
Thanks, Sean. We have a question on PST. Is there a percentage of those who start PST that successfully complete it?
Yes, that's a question I get all the time. So each year we have about 75 to 80% of people pass. That's a good majority of people pass, but that still leaves 20 to 25% of people that don't pass. So half of that 20 to 25 are people that self-select out of the program. A small percentage of them are people that, oh, I didn't know teaching was going to be this hard, or I didn't think I thought I wanted to be a teacher, or I didn't, or this is too fast paced. But the majority of that group are people that self-select out because of family, health, personal issue, life happens, and they weren't able to finish. And we always invite people to come back in that position. That other 10 to 12%, the other half of that group are people that we don't recommend to the classroom for professionalism issues. The district doesn't have any crazy expectations. It's fairly much the same if you work for any organization or volunteer organization. For teachers, it's lesson plans done on time, correctly, managing your class well, working well with your fellow school leaders and teachers, just general things, proper dress, proper speaking. We will go through the handbook in orientation and throughout the summer. Like, you'll know exactly what they expect. But each year, 5 to 6% of people we can't recommend for the classroom, and thus not complete the course because of professionalism issues. The other 5% to 6% are people that have been professional. They want to be a teacher record. They're passionate about what they want to do, but they didn't meet the benchmarks. And so I talked about those evaluations that happen during the school year. We do the same thing that are based on what principals do during the school year during the time that you're doing field experience. So you'll have staff that will come in and evaluate you, and we'll talk more about that, what is involved in that. But with us, you'll have about 3 to 4 evaluations in that short 5-week span that you're teaching. So you'll get a lot of feedback, you'll get a lot of time to change things of that nature. In order to pass, you have to get the majority of satisfactory marks on those observations in order to pass. So 5 to 6% of people don't meet that performance bar on the majority of their observation times or performance reviews. There can be a lot of reasons for that, but for what I've seen most of the time, it is people in that position need a little more skill and maybe educational leadership. So teaching is a leadership position. It's a performance position. You're actually in front of students 5 hours a day, 5 days a week. You're tasked with helping them reach educational goals that they may not want. And so you're not only organizing and knowing your content, you're also inspiring these students, scholars, to be what they need to be to move on to the next thing. And so that may take some a little bit leadership skill that may not be able to be required in the 6 weeks. We focus a lot on classroom management and building and lesson planning and things of that nature. And we do talk about leadership skills and things to help you manage your class, but sometimes it may be a little bit more than what some folks may need, and it may need a little more time. People in that position, we always invite to come back because they have a passion for teaching, but hopefully to get maybe some more skills as a tutor, substitute, paraprofessional, just to kind of build that confidence in. And we do have people that come back after a year or two, getting some experience, and tend to do really well in the program. And we always recommend people in that bucket if they want to long-term sub position or a para position in the district. We also recommend them because they do have a passion for students in the district. So yeah, so really what it boils down to, it's really about 5 to 6% of people that don't meet the performance bar each year. But it's really, 75 to 80% of people actually make it through.
Thank you, Sean. Our next question is, can BCTR help with studying or tutoring for passing the Praxis Content Knowledge exam? Yes, we do have a wide variety of testing resources and support for all of our enrolled residents. So those include online tutoring resources, as well as access to meet with our testing support coach, who is amazing. And she really does, she'll Zoom share with you and help you to log into our online account, set up a study plan, and make sure that you are set up for success with those exams. We do know that the practice exams can be a barrier for some people to enter the teaching profession. So we really do work closely with our residents to make sure they're all set up for success to pass those exams. All right, and I do think we are coming up on time here. So I do want to thank you all for attending our session today, asking your questions. We look forward to continuing the conversations, hopefully having you join us in our 2023 BCTR cohort. I'm going to share my contact info now. You can email me here. You can connect with us on any of the social medias. If you haven't yet completed your application, we do have our next application deadline coming up on Tuesday, February 21st. This is one of our priority review deadlines. So if you are able to get your application in by Tuesday, we will give you an answer if you are invited to complete a video interview a little bit faster. You'll hear within a week about moving on to the next step. If you are at a different stage of the application process, that's awesome. We are excited to have you enroll. I do want to note that if you're offered a spot right now, you don't have to register for the praxis now. You just need to sign a testing acknowledgement form. And if you do have any issues with that, I'm available to support you with that. We also have an incentive program going on right now. If you know anyone who would also possibly make a wonderful teacher in Baltimore and you refer them to our program, you will be entered 2 raffle tickets into our raffle to win a $100 gift card. This is in spirit of February, doubling the love. So I know some of our attendees today are working in schools as paraeducators or substitutes, or maybe they do have friends or colleagues who they think might be interested in our programs. So please do feel free to refer them, share our information. Like I said, we're here to help. Make sure you have all the information you need to start your teaching career. So thank you again so much for being here with us on this Thursday evening, and we look forward to staying in touch. Thank you so much. Have a good night.